Hi, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Charts Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video. We do not take it for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you also find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. We'll also drop a link to the free Telegram group where we share updates of these setups as the week unfolds. So let's quickly jump into the economic calendar for the coming week and see what we have in stock for the week as well after that. On Monday, we don't have any high impact news. On Tuesday, we're going to have the AUD Governor, Bank of Australia's governor speak on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're going to have the CPI for AUD, and later in the day on Wednesday, we're going to have the FOMC, and on Thursday, we're going to have the Bank of England official bank rate and monetary policy summary reports as well on Thursday. On Friday, later on Thursday, we're going to have the USD advanced GDP and core PCE price index for the USD. On Friday, we're going to have the BOG policy rate for the Japanese yen and also CAD GDP for CAD. So let's see what we have for the coming week. So this is DXY. Going into next week, we have this overall picture of potential harmonic pattern we are looking at for DXY, where we are anticipating this completion or this C to D leg to complete this harmonic pattern. But then we would have to see price break through this resistance or this area of interest right here for us to be able to confirm whether price is definitely going to go all the way up or bounce around this area and come down again. So going into next week, we are going to look out for this possible pullback, and as we can see, the market is already shaping up for FOMC for Wednesday. So if we see a possible pullback into this area of interest and price starts developing or setting itself up before FOMC, then we are most likely going to see DXY strengthen when the FOMC is released on Wednesday. Should price pull back a bit lower to the second area of interest we have below, then we'll also look out for buying opportunities to the upside. So going into next week, we are very bullish on DXY. This is Euro USD. For Euro USD, we have been waiting for this reaction from this area of interest, this very first area of interest, and currently we have a nice daily structure shift in our first area of interest. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback or a lower high formation, and then we look for selling opportunities. So if price pulls back to retest this daily structure we have here, or pulls back into the area of interest before FOMC, we are most likely going to see a strong sell coming off from here when FOMC is released. So we are very bearish on EURUSD for the coming week. This is GBPUSD. GBPUSD has also reacted from an area of interest and has given us a very nice daily structural shift right here. So going into next week, we are looking forward to a possible pullback to either retest the daily structure or give us a pullback a bit higher, and then we'll look for selling opportunities to the downside. And if this happens before FOMC, we are most likely going to see a strong dollar for FOMC, and we'll likely see a strong sell coming off from GBPUSD. These are the various targets we have for GBPUSD for the coming weeks. This is USD-CHF, and as we already know, USD-CHF has completed a deep cap pattern and is playing out to its various TPs. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into this very first area of interest. Should we get a pullback here and get buying opportunities from here, we'll take our buys to the upside. Should price also find its way all the way down to the second area of interest, we'll still be interested in taking our buys from there as well to the upside. So we are very, very, very bullish on USD-CHF. This can only be this can be considered bearish if price is able to break below these daily structures we have here and comes for a pullback and continues to the downside. Until then, we are very bullish on USD-CHF. This is USD CAD. USD CAD is also forming a potential harmonic pattern, I think, which is a shark or cipher pattern. And weeks ago, we have been anticipating that price is either going to pull back into this very first area of interest or the second area of interest to give us buying opportunities. Currently, price is reacting from this very first area of interest, and as you can see, that DXY is strengthening, so we are most likely going to see price bounce off from this area of interest rather than the second area of interest. So if you look at what we see here, we can see a very strong momentum, a very strong reaction from this area of interest. So going into next week, we'll be looking out for a possible if we're able to get a double bottom formation, or an inverse head and shoulder formation, or probably a higher low formation, price can just take off from here and then move to the upside. So we are very bullish on USD CAD. So let's see what we have for the next pair. This is AUD USD, and AUD USD, we have been anticipating this pullback into this area of interest to get selling opportunities to the downside. And as we can see, currently price is giving us some nice rejections from the area of interest, and it has given us I think a 4-hour structural shift. It's given us a 4-hour structural shift, which is forming something like a possible head and shoulder formation. So if you look closely, you can see this this left shoulder, this is the head, and a possible right shoulder which is now developing, and we look for it to sell to the downside. So going into next week, if we're able to get a pullback all the way here, or should we get even a double top formation, whichever reversal pattern or selling confirmations we get within this area, we look for selling opportunities to the downside. And these are the various targets we have for AUD USD. So these are the targets we have for AUD USD. We are very bearish on AUD USD. This is Euro JPY, and for Euro JPY, the Japanese yen index is very weak. So going into next week, we're looking forward to a possible pullback into this very first area of interest and look for buying opportunities to the upside. Should we get a pullback deeper into the second area of interest, we'll still be interested in taking our buys from there to the upside. And these are the various targets we have for Euro JPY to the upside. So we are very bullish on Euro JPY. This is CAD JPY, and last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest. It retested the area quickly and just took off. So if we're able to see price pull back all the way back into the area of interest and still give us buying opportunities from here, we'll still take our buys from here to the upside. Price may not pull back all the way down to this area of interest, but rather pull back to retest this daily structure points we have here. It can just retest this daily structure and move to the upside. So we are very bullish on CAD JPY for the coming week. This is AUD JPY. For AUD JPY, we're also very bullish, and so all we are waiting for, or we are anticipating, is to see price pull back into this area of interest, give us buying opportunities from here to the upside. Or if price pulls back a bit deeper into the second area of interest, we'll still take our buys from there to the upside. So we are very bullish on AUD JPY as well. We will consider the bearishness for this if price is able to break below this area of interest and give us a pullback and continues to the downside. Until then, we are very bullish on AUD JPY. This is Euro GBP, and Euro GBP. This was a head and shoulder formation which we waited for since February, and when price actually give us an opportunity, we actually missed out the entry because we didn't get any proper confirmation from there. And price has hit the TP1 and TP2, and it still has more potential to hit this TP3. So going into next week, price has already retested the area of interest. So going into next week, we are going to look out for selling opportunities from this area of interest, and we can take ourselves from there. Should we get a reversal pattern, maybe a head and shoulder formation, double top, any other reversal pattern, or any signs of reversal to the downside where we find within this area of interest, we'll take ourselves from here to the downside to the TP3 that we have below here. So we are still very bullish on Euro GBP for the coming week. This is Euro AUD, and Euro AUD is very bearish now. So going into next week, what we are looking out for is a possible pullback into this very first area of interest. Should we get a pullback here, we'll look for selling opportunities from here to the downside. Should price pull back a bit higher to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves from here also to the downside. So we are very bearish on Euro AUD, on Euro AUD, we are very bearish. This is GBP NZD, and for GBP NZD, we had an area of interest above, and price violated the area of interest and made its way to the second area of interest we have below. So going into next week, this is what I'm going to be looking out for. If we get a daily candle to shift the daily structure over here, if we get a daily candle closure above this daily structure over here, and we get a possible pullback or a possible higher low formation, we can look for buying opportunities to the upside. Should price violate this zone, break below, and then comes for a retest, we are most likely going to see the downside for GBP and ZD pound. So then we're just going to be patient to see how price unfolds within the zone, and you can take our decisions from there. This is Euro NZ, and Euro NZ is giving us a possible ABC correction. And last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest to give us some selling opportunities. Price has currently pulled back into the area of interest, and you are yet to see some rejections, or yet to see some confirmations within this zone before we take ourselves to the downside. And these are the various TPs we have for Euro NZD if we get this bearish move from this area of interest. NZD card and NZD card, we anticipated that price was going to pull back into this very first area of interest, and if we get buying confirmations from here, we'll take our buys to the upside. Price has currently retested the area of interest and is giving us some bullish reaction from there, so we're just going to be patient to see how price plays out here. If we get any reversal pattern within the zone, we'll take our buys from here to the upside. Should price violate the zone or this area of interest to the downside, then we are moving to the bearish side for NZD card. This is Eurusd, and Eurusd is currently very, very bullish. So going into next week, all we are waiting for, or we'll be looking out for, is a possible pullback into this area of interest, and we'll look for buying opportunities from here. Should price pull back here, we'll look for buying opportunities here to the upside, and should price pull back to the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking the buys from there to the upside. So we are very, very bullish on Eurusd for the coming week. This is CAD CHF, and for CAD CHF, we're also very extremely bullish. So going into next week, all we are looking out for, the ultimate target is this price point here, but then we have to take it one step at a time. So we're just going to look out for a possible pullback into this area of interest. We'll look for buying opportunities from here to the upside, or to these two targets we have, and then afterwards we'll look for other opportunities to this third target above, which is around 0.60233. So that will be our ultimate target for this bullish move for CAD CHF, but then we're going to target these two first before we look out for this third target above. This is AUD CHF. AUD CHF is also extremely bullish, so going into next week, what we'll be looking out for is a possible pullback into this area of interest, this very first area of interest. Should price react from here, we'll take our buys to the upside. Should price also pull back all the way to the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking our buys from there to the upside for AUD CHF. So we are very, very bullish on AUD CHF. This is AUD NZD, and for AUD NZD, last week we anticipated that price was going to pull back either into this very first area of interest or the second area of interest. We currently have a retest of the second area of interest, and we are yet to see a confirmation or sell confirmation within this zone. So if we get any reversal pattern or any selling confirmations within this zone, we take ourselves to the downside to these various targets we have below for AUD NZD. This is gold, and we actually took this position. This was the only position we took for the week, so we're not going to look at the recap. We talk about it here, and that will be all for the recap. We are also currently holding on to this sell position, and this position is still running. So going into so as of last week, we identified these two areas of interest we have here, and that we're going to look out for selling opportunities either from the first zone or the second zone. Price retested the first zone and showed us some reactions from there. I think it was an impulsive trade we took, and we took a loss on that. We took the position around here, and then we took a loss on this position, and price pulled back all the way to the second area of interest to give us a very strong reaction. So going into next week, all we'll be looking out for is if price is able to retest this area of interest before FOMC, we are most likely going to see a bearish push to the downside. But then if price is able to violate this zone or break this zone above and come for a retest, then we are most likely going to see the bullish side for gold. And these are the TPs we have. We are still going to maintain this TP1, TP2, sorry, and TP3. So we are still bearish on gold. We just have to be patient to see how price plays out within this zone. Then we take ourselves to the downside. But for this position, it was a loss. This is silver, and for silver, we anticipated that price was going to pull back to retest there was an area of interest below here. We took that out, and price has currently reacted from the second area of interest. So going into next week, we are waiting for this possible pullback into this area of interest again, or if we get a double top formation, whichever reaction we get from this area of interest, we'll look for selling opportunities to the downside for silver. And as we can see, we are already holding this position on silver, and we have more targets below. So we are also going to target these targets we have below. But then we'll wait to see how price develops around this area. Then we'll take our decision to sell from here to the downside. This is Brent crude oil, and Brent crude oil has been very, very parabolic. We anticipated this reaction from this area of interest, but we didn't know it was going to react so fast that we couldn't catch all this move to the upside. And due to the growing tensions in the Middle East, we are most likely going to see more bullishness to the upside. And as we identified some months ago, the Brent crude oil is forming a potential harmonic pattern, which might likely see price get all the way to $187 per barrel, or probably maybe $200 per barrel. So we are very, very bullish on Brent crude oil. So all we'll be looking out for is to be looking out for buying opportunities along the way as price keeps developing or playing out to the upside. So we just be looking for buying opportunities, then we take our buys to the upside. So for now, we are very bullish on Brent crude oil. This is natural gas, and natural gas, we anticipated that price was going to pull back into either this very first area of interest or the second area of interest. Price has pulled back to the first area of interest and is giving some rejections from this very first area of interest. So if we get any selling opportunity from there, we will take ourselves to the downside to these two targets we have below. Or should price pull back all the way to the second zone above and give us selling opportunities, we'll take ourselves from there to the upside for natural gas. This is S&P 500, and S&P 500 on the weekly perspective, it's looking bullish, but on the daily perspective, it's looking bearish. So going into next week, if we get this pullback before FOMC, if this price is able to retest this area of interest before FOMC and give us selling opportunities from here, we might see a strong sell from here to the downside. Or should price move back all the way to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves from there if we get any opportunity within that area. This can only be considered bullish if we're able to break above these daily structures we have here, and then we'll take our buys to the upside. This is the daily bias for S&P 500. This is Nasdaq, and for Nasdaq, we have a very nice bearish momentum, and both the weekly and the daily perspective, we have price giving us a bearish sentiment. So going into next week, all we are waiting for is to see a pullback into this area of interest, and we'll take ourselves from here to the downside to the various targets we have. Should price move back to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves from there as well to the downside for Nasdaq. This is US 2000, and US 2000, all we're waiting for is a possible pullback or a possible lower high formation. Should price retest this daily structure points we have here, or we get a lower high formation and we get selling confirmations, we can take ourselves to the downside. And if this happens before FOMC, we are most likely going to see this strong bearish momentum to the downside. This is France 40, and so for France 40, we have been waiting for this breakouts, or we are waiting for price to break out of this area of interest to give us selling opportunities to the downside. So price is here to give us a strong momentum to the downside for us to get our selling confirmations to take ourselves from to the downside. But as you can see, this is a head and shoulder formation that is forming. This is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. So price may likely break and give us a retest of the neckline, and then we take ourselves to the downside. Sorry, these are the various targets we have for France 40 to the downside. This is HK50, Hong Kong 50, and we have been looking out for this position for a very long time, and price has currently retested a nice clean head and shoulder formation, and price has currently retested the neckline, and we are waiting for selling confirmations. We are currently seeing some rejections here, but what will give us a clearer confirmation is if we get a daily candle break below this daily structure point, and then we wait for a possible lower high formation, and we'll take ourselves to the downside. Or if price is able to form a reversal pattern within this area of interest, we will likely take ourselves from there even before price gives us this daily structural shift. So we are very bearish on HK50 for the coming week. This is BTC, and we have been anticipating a possible pullback into this area of interest to get selling opportunities to the downside. Price has currently retested the area, and it's two things. We are either going to see a daily, if we get a daily structure shift here, we'll look for a possible lower high formation and look for ourselves to the downside. But then if price continues to the bullish side and continues to buy into the area of interest properly and give us some reversal patterns within this zone, we'll still be interested in taking ourselves to the downside. And as we know, this area of interest within 58k to 46k is our next target if price, or should BTC go bearish, and the worst case scenario is going to be 35k for BTC. So we are very bearish on BTC USD for the coming week. Just have to be patient to see how price plays out within this area of interest and take our decision to the downside. This is Ethereum. Ethereum has also retested this area of interest we have been waiting for a very long time. So going into next week, we just have to be patient to see. If we get a daily structural shift here, we'll look for a lower high formation and we take ourselves to the downside. If we get a daily structural shift here, look for a lower high formation and take ourselves to the downside. Or should price buy all the way into this area of interest and give us any reversal patterns, cleaner reversal patterns here, we'll be glad to take ourselves from there as well to the downside. And these are the various targets we have for Ethereum to the downside. So thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video. Really appreciate you for your time, and will encourage all of us to apply proper risk management to our trades. Let's trade safe and sound, and I wish all of us a fruitful and a profitable week ahead of us. So let's take good care of ourselves, and I'll catch you on another episode. Thank you and take care. Bye bye.